It's 24 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Maukwe Ogun Yusuf.
It's a Tuesday. The sun is out, thankfully. Good morning and welcome. I'm Kayla Magwa.
Well, this morning we're starting all the way in Sokoto State where a natural disaster occurred. Indeed, some of the government agencies have been warning before now that there was going to be flooding much later in the year as a result of excuse me, heavy rainfall. And one of the places we're beginning to see that this has been witnessed is in faraway Sokoto State, northwest of Nigeria, where this disaster has occurred in Gada Goronyo Federal Constituency. And our correspondents were on the ground to gather some of the information which transpired in that particular constituency, and this was what they brought to us.
Members of Kojio community are thrown into mourning following a boat mishap involving over 50 persons, including traders and market women heading to Goronyo Weekly Market. Following the incident, officials of the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) and the Nigerian Inland Waterways Authority commenced rescue operations. It is 24 hours since the rescue operation started, with no fewer than 25 people still missing, while 25 persons have been rescued alive. Officials blame non-adherence to safety measures, overloading, and other misconduct for the incessant boat mishaps.
Enforcement of transportation court is the only solution. Don't do this. If you do it, you will be finalized. We take you to the nearest police station. Then we have a transportation court being gazetted by the federal government. The Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy are trying with all other agencies to make sure that this transportation court is being enforced throughout the country.
It was overloaded with over 50 passengers. And then when it capsized, 25 were rescued with 7 motorcycles, and all the pump products were salvaged. But up to this moment, as I'm speaking with you, we haven't retrieved any body. So as far as Argungu, to be aware, alerted, so that if they see any floating body, they should help us retrieve and then inform the proper authority.
Families of victims plead with authorities to improve water transportation system in the riverine communities. Although the state government has donated 100 bags of grains and 20 million naira to support affected members of the community, the ongoing bridge construction in the area will soon be completed. In addition, the government has provided life jackets and motorized boats, which will be distributed across 6 local government areas: Goronyo, Sabon Birni, Isa, Wamako, Kware, and Shagari.
So 2 different incidences. One was a boat mishap, which has now left 40 people missing, and the other, a flooding occurrence, which happened sometime last week, but it does appear that members are still reeling from that particular flood, which happened in Bodinga and Shagari local government areas. But this morning, we have with us in our studios, joining us from Kano, a member representing Gada Goronyo Federal Constituency, Bashir Usman Gorau, who is joining us from our studios in Kano. Honorable, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Shall we say our condolences on some of the tragedies that have now occurred in your constituency as well as other local governments surrounding your constituency. Thank you for speaking with us this morning. Can you give us a current update on the state of affairs from both the flooding incident and this boat mishap, which happened particularly in your constituency as some people were said to be on their way to the market?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. My pleasure to be here. Well, thank you for the condolence. Current happening as you asked. On Sunday, we wake up with the very sad news and tragedy, and that is not a new thing. It's something that persistent occurrence over time, and unfortunately, as you mentioned in your news, that in your report, due to the lack of adherence on the safety measures for the local water transportations, like local water way users. So currently, the situation is under monitoring, and our local king of our waters, like Sarkin Ruas, they are doing their best to continue rescuing operation. And so far, so good now, alhamdulillah. They have succeeded in rescuing 26 people out of the predicted number. Out of the predicted numbers, 25 men were rescued alive, and one woman were also among the rescued people, making the number of the 26. And we succeeded in getting the cooperation of the Rima Basin Development Authority for closing the water release from the Gorenyo Dam temporarily for the 2 days time, so that the water will go down, and those local water kings will continue the operation, rescue operation, to see how they can recover those people that are still missing. Although there is not an actual predicted number of those that are missing, it's just an assumption that 40 or 50 people were actually missing, but there is not a assertion of how many numbers of people are still missing.
I mean, it's a very tragic situation, and you know, we've been seeing these things occurring quite a lot, especially boat mishaps. Could you talk to us a little bit about some of the preventive measures? We saw an upgrade, at least from the federal government side. They talked about an upgrade when it comes to standard operating procedures, when it comes to transportation, especially when it comes to using boats in this country. This is one incident too many. What is the government in Sokoto State doing to ensure that people are protected, since this is the way that people have to go to the market? Are there any preventive measures that are being put in place?
It's not issues of people going to the market. We have to look to the safety standard nationally, and what are the national inland waterways are doing, like to restructure the waterways transportation system across the country. For us, in our own area, all the Padama communities, that's the way of our transportation in and all our waterways is locally inherited traditional ways of water transportation. So all those are locally fabricated boot that you see we are using are still the same boot we are using over time, like since before I was even born, and the many people ahead of me, that's what we have inherited and the transportation system we are using. So there is need of our national inland waterways to come in and to change and restructure the transportation system within the Padama communities and waterways users. So without not doing that, we still continue the same way and the same old way we are doing, and maintaining safety in that direction is going to be very, very difficult, because our local people are very difficult to adhere to the safety standard without coming in of the National Inland Waterways Authority.
You're talking about local methods that are being used. Can you tell us a little bit about these local methods? Because one of the conversations, really, and you have pointed to that, wearing life jackets and all of those standard procedures that have improved over the years. What are some of the local methods that are being used, and what would you like to see change if the Federal Inland Waterways updates the security and the safety procedures for your localities?
As I said, those boots that you see is locally fabricated. Just in 2 days, one man can go and buy wooden materials and start fabricating a boat. And in the couple of 3-4 days, the boat will enter the waters and continue, transporting people from one angle to another. And unfortunately, any time of this season, like August to the ending of September, is going to be a tragic period that every people around the riparian side will continue to live in a deep fear, because Gorenyo Dam is no longer holding the, predicted metric cubic water that the dam is constructed to overhaul. If you look to the dam, Gorenyo Dam, is the 5th largest dam in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a part of Akanji, Shiroro, Tiga of Kano, and Chala of Kano. So that Goranyo Dam is the 5th largest, constructed to store like about 942 million cubic meter of water. And as it is now, the dam cannot even contain or store like 100 million. So you see there is a problem there. So the also river, the dam is releasing the water. The river needs to be totally dredged and give it its way to carry the water down to other community, Padama community, up to Argungu, and even beyond the Argungu where the river is taking the water. So now, the water are just splitting off to the farmers and flooding the farms and causing a lot of damage. And right now, as I can tell you, all our farmers ranging from Kasira, where the dam begins, down to Argungu, are in deep fear. Some cannot even sleep. Transportation movement, fear of having flood, causing damage in their farms, and causing a lot of loss, going by the cost of agricultural activities ranging from mechanization, the cost of fertilizer they are using, and now many people, 80% to 90% of our population cannot sleep due to this fear. They are seeing every night, if it was raining, there is a sort of fear that water can flood their farms and cause damage. And of course, transportation now is a serious challenge in all the Padama communities. Transportation is a serious challenge. Some cannot even move from now till end of September, pending when the waters was finally gone down. Then people start moving from one village to another. But some people now cannot move because the transportation system is not guaranteed.
Honorable, let me get this straight, because you have mentioned severally now this issue of the dam being a little faulty, if I get you right, or that the capacity for which it was built is now, it seems to be holding much more than the capacity for which it was built. I don't know if I'm getting that part right, but you certainly are faulting something with the dam.
Yeah.
And I do not know if this is linked with the flooding which was reported last week in some other communities. How did this dam, which you say is not holding us, or which is not measuring up to capacity, how did it cause or aid this particular boat accident which we witnessed in your community?
What I have mentioned earlier is that the dam, Goranyo Dam, specifically, was constructed to store the capacity of 942 million cubic meter. And now, as it is, by report, even by CNN, they reported this, the capacity of the dam now is not up to 100 million. So that seriously is causing flooding, because if the dam is at its initial capacity, it's set to contain those predicted 900 cubic meter of water. So now, the more the water enter the dam, the more the dam's operators release the water to the riparian side, to Padama communities. So the dam is no longer containing the water, and it's no longer storing the water for irrigation purposes that it was built for. So the more the water enter, when it is months of August to September, or early beginning of July, August to September, the more the water enter the dam, the more they release the water to the Padama side, instead of storing the water till the dry season for the irrigation purposes. So the dam is no longer containing the water, and Goranyo Dam is not only the question. All of the dams across the Federal Republic of Nigeria are facing the same problem. Federal government needs to now look this holistically. What I mean by holistically is, what is the problem that causing flood disaster in Nigeria? It's nothing than the dam that was constructed across the country are no longer holding the capacity of water they were constructed to hold, to store rather. So everywhere in Maiduguri, last year there was a serious flooding. And if you go now and embark on investigative journalists, what has happened? What federal government has done for the Allow Dam? Nothing has been done. And the serious disaster was occurred last year, and nothing has been done. And now what is happening in the Baccalaureate Dam? Mafara, Talata Mafara, Goraya Dam, Tiga Dam of Kano, Chala Dam, Shirora Dam, everywhere you go, flooding are caused by the lack of capacity of Nigerian dams to store the actual predicted water that they is supposed to store. So this is federal government challenging, and other state government that constructed their little as them to see how they can now shift focus on the desalting, dredging of those water facilities so that Nigeria can even have a ease in the flooding situation. But without doing that, those dams across Nigeria will continue to release water when it is times of August and early September, and continue causing panic for Nigeria across the country.
I get the point you make now with regards to the dam and why it can cause flooding, or why we're beginning to see reports of flooding in certain communities, particularly in Sokoto State. However, it doesn't seem to explain the issue of the boat mishap, because we've seen boat mishaps in a number of states, and it is quite worrisome, this trend that we're seeing. If we know that within the months of August and September, we know that our people usually use this water as a means of transportation, and we know that this is when we record the most accidents. Don't you think that the state government also has a duty and a responsibility to ensure that citizens do not lose their lives as a result of trying to find their way through this means of transportation?
Of course, they have state government at all levels. They have their duty to do to reduce the the rate of incidents that occur for the mischief or capsizes, because day to day they have the proper understanding of their local system, and they have their proper understanding of what they shall do to improve the system. So here, federal government cannot single-handedly blame, and the state government too can actually come in and do the needful. They can assemble all those local traditional operators and discuss with them in a holistic way and see what government can do to improve the system, more especially the safety standard for those waterways users.
Yes, Honorable, and as we wrap up, just is it possible, maybe, let's talk about the people now. Is it possible that maybe until all of this is sorted out, is there some way you can get people not to, would you suggest that they don't use the waterways for now, since we're looking at multifaceted problems with the water transportation system in your localities? Would you suggest that maybe people look for alternative means of transportation for now until these safety standards and this dam issue is sorted out?
And unfortunately, we don't have any alternative way of transportation. Those people that are living in the Fadama community, they must cross from one angle to another to get even a means of living, to get even basic amenities. So there is no way. We must, of course, transport from one angle to another. But what I am going to emphasize is that safety standard. We must begin to adhere the safety procedures, since that we don't have any alternative way of transportation. Those that are living across the river and crossing the river to some town and villages to do their daily activities and to also get their daily means of living.
Okay, so right now we do not know, because what has been reported is that people are missing. It's unclear if anyone has lost their lives. Do you have any updates in that regard?
Well, up to now, there is no case of any recovered body. But so far, today, as I told you yesterday, they have closed the water. So temporarily, between today to tomorrow, the river will go down, and hopefully, everybody that's still missing, we are hoping to recover those people that are still missing. And to the expectation, if still there is person or people that are missing, definitely those are going to be a recovered body, because you cannot be in the water like for 2-3 days. Barely now in the next 2-3 hours, it's going to be exactly 48 hours. So typically somebody cannot be in a river for 48 hours and still be alive. It's quite difficult. So we are hoping, as the Rima Basin Development Authority have temporarily closed the water release. So what is going to happen today and tomorrow, everybody that's still missing, we are hoping to recover those missing people.
Well, we'll stay optimistic, Honorable, and we hope for the very best in that particular situation, even though we know that the situation can be grim. Well, we have to thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We're hoping that also the House of Representatives will also impress upon federal and state authorities about the responsibilities they owe citizens with regards to enforcing safety standards, especially along our waterways. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
We're speaking with Honorable Bashir Usman Gorau, who is a member representing Gada and Goronyo Federal Constituency, and he spoke to us from our studios in Kano. Switching gears now to politics, and we're hoping that, you know, the way our politics is played, we're hoping that it will start to have an effect on the lives of people. So we certainly all need to keep attention, pay attention to what exactly is happening within our polity and within the political circle. This morning, we're joined by Mr. Tsado to look at some of the developments around the political circles. And in recent times, the call is growing louder. It started like a whisper, you know. Initially, one heard I think it was the candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Mr. Peter Obi, who had said that he was only going to run for a term, you know, should he decide to run for presidency and he's elected, you know, seeming to keep with this arrangement that we have where the North power is in the North, or presidential power is in the North for 8 years, and presidential power comes to the South for another 8 years. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently serving out the first 4 years of his own tenure. Clearly, he has shown that he would like to run again come 2027. And, you know, there are calculations as to if he's not the one who is elected and another candidate is elected, will that candidate who has not yet served out, will I say his own 8 years, will he want to send power back to the North? Is a question. So you hear someone like Mr. Peter Obi saying, look, if I am elected president, I will only be serving one single tenure. But to cure this, it would seem that other people are beginning to say, hey, we know one person who can serve out just that single term.
Who has no choice but to
of 4 years, because he's already done 4 years before, and he's from the South. So we've been hearing the names, instead with whispers of President Goodluck Jonathan, who had served as president before, and his tenure ended in 2015. But these are the issues coming up around the polity, and I'm wondering, why is this gathering momentum at this time? Joining us to take a look at this, we saw a peek of his picture earlier, Mr. Tsado, who himself had tried to run for presidency. Is that ambition totally out the window now, or,
No,
you're saving it for another time?
No, not at all. You know, my desire to run for president initially wasn't born out of ambition. It was purely out of passion for the society, seeing that the country was going in the wrong direction. If you remember, that was the era where young people came out en masse to say, you know, we need to address the problems or challenges that are facing the country. So it isn't so much of an ambition. If I am able to get a system or someone, a group of people that can help us to fix the country, why not? I'm ready to work with the person, and it wouldn't be whether I become president or not, but if Nigerian state begins to work for the people. So that's basically it. Yeah.
So right now you are not running for anything.
No.
You're not running for president. You're not running for governor. You're not running for member House of Reps. You're not running for Senate. You're not. Local government chairman?
It's at the moment we are not. We haven't started running. Everybody is consulting.
Oh,
and
so you're
discussions
consulting?
are going. Yeah, every politician always consult, particularly those who have shown interest to run for office at one point or the other. So it's okay to consult if, like you just mentioned in your introduction, if the kind of clamors and the calls that President Goodluck Jonathan is getting today to come back to run for office, if I begin to get that kind of call from my people, why not? I'll go back to go and meet them to run for election.
So what do you make of this call for President Goodluck Jonathan? Because clearly, if you look at it, if one looks at it, what they're looking at is a guarantee, but it's clearly not out of, oh, his I don't want to use the word, his wonderful capacity. This looks like the call by a group of people who seem to be self-centered, and what they're looking for is guarantee that when the president is done, he cannot run for a second term.
I don't think that is entirely correct, because if you look at the calls that are coming, most of these calls are coming from ordinary Nigerians who are not likely going to run for election. A group of people that came out from Northeast to address a press conference a couple of days ago to say we want the president to come back to, we want the former president to come back to come and run for election. I don't think they are interested in whether power comes back to the north or stays in the south. The history, the performance of President Goodluck Jonathan, unfortunately, some of us didn't see it that time. I think it speaks volume for itself. People are beginning to see that. Come, let's reanalyze the situation. Since the APC came over and took power, everything is going backward. President Goodluck Jonathan has been out of office for 10 years. And for every election cycle, his name has been coming up. It means that the people are saying, oh, we are missing something. And why wouldn't they miss something? Fuel was 87 naira. Dollar was 150 to 190. A bag of rice was 10,000. A couple of days ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life. My kids are around for holidays, and I said I was going to go to the market to go get some groceries, just a couple of things. In fact, just to make stew and cook soup for them, because, you know, it's very expensive living here in Abuja. I got to the market, and by the time I had to go and meet a POS man to withdraw money to go and buy, because for just a pot of stew and soup was about 40,000 naira. How can people survive this kind of thing? So it is not out of place to see that Nigerians are saying, see, take us back to where we were. You know, if you join a vehicle and you say the vehicle should take you to a particular destination, and then the driver seems to be roaming around the street, doesn't know where he's going to, I think the natural thing to do is to say, sir, if you don't know where you are going, please take me back to where you picked me from. And that is what Nigerian people seem to be telling the APC, because sincerely speaking, APC has demonstrated to Nigerian people that they do not have the capacity, the leadership from. And I remember very well, I saw a cartoon or something of late President Buhari, may the Lord rest his soul, and that of current president. And somebody said, from fry pan to fire. And it has become clear that this is really the sad situation of the Nigerian people today.
So, well, just a moment. So, while there are those who, yes, will say, okay, this is about nostalgia. This is about, oh, now that we've seen the APC, it doesn't seem so bad. I mean, that, you know, what President Goodluck Jonathan was offering us at that time, maybe we made a mistake by not bringing him back in 2015, etc., etc. While that is valid, those who will say, look, this particular call is clearly not born, because President Goodluck Jonathan has not offered himself for election. There are other people who are saying, oh, okay, the APC is not doing well. We are offering ourselves, and we can do better than what the party that is currently, the government that is currently in power. Why don't you think that people are willing to try these new people? Why are they looking for President Goodluck Jonathan, who, by the way, has, you know, taken on other duties? He's formed this West African Elders Forum. He's making sure elections are free and fair across many other parts of Africa, making sure that when leaders are rejected by their people through the ballot, that they are able to accept whatever the outcome of the ballot is, you know, applying himself to other duties and other responsibilities, which is bringing him, and not just himself, the country honor. Why are they not looking to these other people who are offering themselves?
I just said something here. When you introduced me, I said, when the people call you to serve. You see, the position that former President Goodluck Jonathan finds himself today is a position that most politicians are yearning for. And you see, the thing is, it doesn't matter. In fact, he demonstrated his he's not somebody who is desperate to be in government. You remember when he said his ambition is not worth blood of any Nigeria. And someone says recently that President Goodluck Jonathan lost the election in 2015, but gained the people. And at the moment, I think that is what is working for him. Who will not ride on such kind of... yes, he has not declared that he wants to run for election, but for somebody like me, I am praying for a day that will come that President Goodluck Jonathan will declare and say, I want to run. Because, and sincerely speaking, I think Nigerians should, if those that have his contact, those that have access to him, should speak to him that, look, at this point, the other rumors around in 2023 that you are going to run and all that, there were rumors. But this time around, please come and run, sir. Because Nigerian people today, they need you. The things are, nothing is working.
I think you're referring to Honorable Alex Ikweche, who said, you know, that the president may have lost the election, but he won the hearts of the Nigerian people. But that lawmaker, by the way, is saying he shouldn't run. And many people are bringing out this section 137.3. I don't know if you've heard about this, section 137.3 of the Constitution. And it says this section states that the person who was sworn in to complete the term for which another person was elected as president shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term. So he has already done one term. So many people are saying that this can actually be contested. If he actually decides to run, it can be contested in court. What are your thoughts on
for
that?
me, Keller, I don't think I want to speak to whatever the legalities of whatever it is, but as far as I'm concerned today, the thing is that the call from the Nigerian people is for former president to come and run.
Yeah.
If you so decide, let him assemble the legal team that will trash out every legal encumbrances that probably will befall him. But as far as the Nigerian people that are clamoring for him to come and run, I think they should. Everybody, people that are making such calls, they are making it. And the what's it called? The honorable that suggested, I think also. Former Senator Shosani also said that he should not run. And let them say, in fact, most of these people don't even understand the pains that the Nigerian people are going through. As we speak to you today, this is 9 a.m. There are families in this country, not as in millions of families in this country, that this morning, they can't guarantee what they will eat this morning.
I understand that, but you see, the thing is, the conversation really about governance in Nigeria is that we're trying to move from strong people to stronger institutions. So when we keep looking, and I think we do this every time there's an election, we start to look for some honest man, principled man, good man. We keep looking for a strong person. Meanwhile, our institutions are not strong enough to uphold whatever principles this is a good point.
This is a good point you are bringing up, because sincerely speaking, one of the presidents that we have had in this country that has focused on building institutions was President Goodluck Jonathan. He was one person that was not, even from his body language, you can see that he's not somebody who, he never dabbled into the, the judiciary issues. He never dabbled into what was happening in the National Assembly. He just let things be. And you know, because we were short-sighted, all of us started clamoring for a return of a general. We needed a strong man. We have had strong men now. Where are we?
Let's move on to the elections, the by-elections in the 16 constituencies, and of course the hue and cry around the results of those elections. What did you make of it? We've heard election observers actually complain. Well, they say it wasn't so bad, but we have to start moving away from bare minimums to actually great elections.
Well, you see, in fact, there's one, I think it was a Guardian newspaper that I saw where they say APC, PDP,
and everyone is angry.
All of them are condemning the elections. The states that are being controlled by PDP, the candidate won. The states that are being controlled by APC, their candidate won. The states that are being controlled by ABGA, their candidate won. The states that are being controlled by NNPP, their candidate won. What does it tell you? Does it mean that, did we have an election? I think what we had in the by-elections was more like a local government election, just a semblance of local government elections that we've had, that you have a situation where the state governor's candidate, the state governor's party and his candidate will win all the seats. And sincerely speaking, this is not good for our country. This is not good for our democracy. And again, please, Kela, forgive me if I take you back to President Goodluck Jonathan. These things were not happening during his era.
Well, you know, quite a lot to ponder, and it's a good thing that we're talking about elections, because we'll be delving into them shortly. So do you think that we need to, while we're focusing on the people whom we're asking to run, you know, whom Nigerians are asking to run, what do you think I'm the one championing the cause?
You should join us.
Do you think that we're focusing enough on the process?
The process of the elections?
Yes.
Oh, well, there have been a lot of people who are, there's a guy called Peter who has been clamoring for electoral reforms, a couple of people that are asking for electoral reforms. Yeah, here and there, we know that the process is flawed, but again, you see, there are so many things that we have to address. We have not spoken about the issue of vote buying. It irritates me to my spirit that you want to serve the people, and because you want to serve the people, you go and meet them and give them money to vote for you. Does it make any sense to you? It tells you the desire, that the intention of those that want to be your leaders. But the reforms that are in the National Assembly, we hope that this will be implemented. We hope that the president will sign into law some of these reforms, and we'll see if we will be able to. But again, as a call I want to make to Nigerians, particularly those who are leaders of institutions, leaders of organizations, leaders of religious bodies, and leaders of civil society groups and all that, that we should begin to preach to the people. I would love to have a situation where a malem or a pastor will stand up in the church and tell the people to say, please don't sell your votes. Please. And you as malems and pastors, please don't become those that are collecting monies from politicians to go and start, let us begin to, at this point, elect people on the basis of merit, like we have enumerated the performance of former president. You as a candidate that want to run for election, be able to put out, when I was running for House of Representatives in my state, I went to meet with the stakeholders in their homes. I sat down with them in a group of 5 people to tell them what my ambition was, that all that I want to see is that these your children that are roaming around these streets, that we should be able to, productively engage them.
So the people should be able to sell their plans and their policies to their people, rather than try to buy their votes.
Honestly.
Well, this is an ongoing conversation, certainly, and we will see. I mean, because this is the call for the former president. We'll see eventually whether he'll speak up on this matter or whether he'll remain silent on it. But we have to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Mr. Tsado is a public affairs analyst, development strategist, and a former presidential aspirant. Thank you once more for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we did say we're changing gears now, talking about the elections, the by-elections which held over the weekend. There have been quite a number of complaints, and part of it has come from the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, which says that the results that were released by INEC were not reflective of the true situation of things in the elections which held in Kano State. Well, joined right now by Mr. Jamiu Mohammed, who is a National Strategic Advisor to the NNPP and also Special Advisor to the Kano State government on national, beg your pardon, just one moment now, on national, international, and public relations. Mr. Jamiu Yusuf, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning on Sunrise Daily. Can you give us...
Thank you, and good morning.
Thank you. So can you give us a situation, will I say, an update on the elections that were conducted over the weekend in your state? The NNPP, we understand, has been complaining about it. What exactly went wrong with the polls?
Well, elections have come and elections have gone, and INEC has already declared the winners for the election. But naturally speaking, I have been part of the election, and two elections were contested. One is the Shanono Bagwai, which the NNPP candidate was declared as the legitimate winner for that election, and then the Kunchi Sanyawa election. Kunchi is a local government that the state assembly has already passed a law and changed the name to Gari local government. So we call it Kunchi, and it can be called Gari too. So that election was given to the candidate of the APC, unfortunately, after the results were declared at the polling units, and the candidates that won the election at the polling unit is the NNPP candidate, but the INEC in its own wisdom did not allow the election results to be declared at the polling units at the collation center of the constituency election as it is supposed to be done. So the materials were all moved to the state INEC, and it was at the office of the state INEC that the election was declared, and the APC candidate was declared as the winner of that election. So going by the Electoral Act, we all know the Electoral Act has clearly defined how elections results are to be announced. They are supposed to be announced at the polling unit, and then at the collation center, victory is supposed to be declared for who has won an election, but that was not done. So that was why the NNPP as a party took it upon itself to challenge the conduct of INEC as it's regard to the Gari Zanyawa election.
So if I get you correctly, you had no problem with the process. As far as the NNPP is concerned, the process went on smoothly, and it would seem that the results is what you have a problem with, because the rightful winner, according to you, was not declared at the end of the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You are right. The processes leading to the election, everything went smooth. People came out en masse and voted for the candidates, and it was a peaceful conduct. Everybody that has witnessed that election saw it happening very peacefully. Even the police commissioner declared that this is one of the most peaceful election that he has witnessed in the history of him being even a police officer. So it's a peaceful process, and it was a seamless process. It was the declaration of the results that we found unpleasant.
But Mr. Mohammed, the APC is also, well, not just the APC, everyone. It feels like every party is upset about the results of the elections in Kano State. Well, the APC is also challenging the results that your candidate won in Bagwai Shanono in these by-elections. So it feels like everyone has some. If you win, it's fair. If you don't win, it's suddenly not fair. And then you said it was very peaceful, but I'm seeing here right now, at least the Daily Post is reporting, 333 thugs have been arraigned for electoral offenses in this particular by-election. Could you speak to that? And also maybe a response to the APC saying that your candidate from the Bagwai Shanono area, they don't agree that he won that election.
Well, actually, I am just even hearing about the thugs being arrested now as you have declared it, because after the election, it's a very rigorous thing from the days of the campaigning and monitoring from the situation room. You get quite tired, and after everything has happened, you want to take some few rest as a human being. So the issue of arrest that you are mentioning here, well, during every election, there are always one or two reasons for people to be arrested. And the people that have been arrested, I didn't hear you say maybe they belong to the NNPP or something like that. So I will need to dig further about it. But the election in Bagwai Shanono, let me tell you one very beautiful thing about that particular place. If I'm to even call the stronghold of the APC, that zone is the strongest hold of APC in Kano State. So during the governance, the 2 years of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, he has been doing quite a lot to impact the lives of people all over the state with so many projects from road, from healthcare, education, infrastructure, social well-beings of the people and things like that. And then in the stronghold of the APC, people realize, oh, this governor is really doing a very good work. So let the narrative change. And then people came out en masse and they voted for the candidate of the NNPP. So I will be surprised if people are complaining about what has happened there. But naturally, yes, as politicians, when elections happen, it's very natural for people when it doesn't come their way for them to complain. But then even if you have to complain, then you must have very genuine grounds that you can be able to lay the facts out there that you can be able to complain. But I think this is a very beautiful election, and it was done seamlessly, and it is free and fair. So all I can say for the candidate of the Shanono Bagwai, who is the NNPP candidate, is to congratulate him and to encourage all the good people of Kano to continue supporting the governor of Abba Kabir Yusuf.
So if right now the NNPP is going to challenge in court the results of the constituency which you have a problem with, is that correct?
Yeah, the law has to be tested because we are having an issue here whereby clearly the Electoral Act has defined how elections are supposed to be announced after the PU has signed on the electoral papers and declared victory at the polling unit. Only the PU has the power to cancel elections, but the state INEC does not have that constitutional power to cancel any election that has been declared by the PU. So it's very awkward, and we find it very alien from the point of the law. So it's very imperative and important to set the record straight. So the NNPP will definitely approach the court so that we can be able to test it. This is a matter that has been calibrated several times before several courts, before the appeal, before the tribunal, the appeal court, and even the Supreme Court. And there has been several instances where up to the Supreme Court, justice has been given in respect to this particular matter. So we have to test the law in this particular instance, and it is for helping to smoothen and strengthening the electoral law. So the NNPP will definitely contest this election result.
Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to the results of the test of that particular part of the law, the Electoral Act, which you have cited in this particular instance. Well, we have to thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. Mr. Mohammed Jamil Yusuf is the Special Advisor, National, International and Public Relations to the Kano State Government. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much, and I wish you and all the viewers a very pleasant and wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. Well, that's where we leave the program this beautiful Tuesday morning. Can you believe it's Tuesday already, Kayla? Well, we're hoping that you have a sun-filled and productive day. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
Have a great rest of your day. I'm Kayla Magwa.